Hi, welcome to Yoga at the Library. We're going to do a little bit of everything today. Get a good full body stretch and warm up. So we'll begin seated on our mats. You don't need any props or anything, just your mat, your space, and yourself. Sit down on the floor. Notice what's going on with your lower body, the parts of you that are making contact with the floor. Just letting your hands rest wherever it's comfortable. Notice how the hips feel, the sit bones. We want them to be even from right to left. Feeling out the sides of the ankles and the sides of the feet that make contact with the floor. And then we'll lengthen up the spine, reaching the crown of the head high towards the ceiling, letting the shoulders drop from the ears, taking up a lot of space with your torso, so your lungs have plenty of room to expand on your inhale. And you can exhale all that stale air out, feeling a big difference from when your lungs are full and expanded to when they're empty and contracted. Check in with your spine. Even though you're breathing, we're still sitting up nice and tall. Notice whether you feel like you're breathing more into one lung than the other. Notice whether you feel like you've expanded your lungs like this yet today. Is this the first time? Notice whether you've emptied your lungs like this yet today. Made space for more fresh air. Take a big deep breath in through the nose and let it out through the mouth. Another one like that. Alrighty, let's go ahead and uncross those legs. Take the knees from side to side a couple times. We're going to come back into a cross-legged position and do some stretches. Just taking a break in between. So when we come to cross the legs again, across the ankles, let's cross them in the opposite way. If you can remember. We'll switch a couple times, so don't worry. We're sitting up nice and tall, re-rooting through both sit bones. Taking a couple rolls with the shoulders, back and up, and forward and down. Forward and up, back and down. And coming back to neutral, dropping those shoulders away from the ears. We'll take the arms out and up. Exhaling down to one side, reaching up and over. Inhaling up to center. And exhaling down to the other side. Moving with your breath here. Checking in with the side body, the shoulders, the obliques, the connection from your upper body to your lower body, feeling out your low back. When you feel even, coming back to center. And we'll twist. Exhaling to twist, bringing one hand across, one hand behind. Inhaling both arms up. And exhaling to twist the other way. Inhaling both moving with each breath because we're trying to warm up the body. It's getting a little cooler outside. Starting our yoga practice with some movement right away rather than just sitting still and breathing. It's a good way to warm up. When you feel even, coming back to center, we'll bring the hands down. Let's go ahead and cross the ankles in the opposite way. Re-rooting through those sit bones, sitting up nice and tall. We'll take the palms together at the heart. Big deep breath in. Exhaling, palms press forward, rounding back between the shoulder blades. Inhaling, palms come up, shoulders stay dropped. Exhaling, reaching the hands back. Maybe they can interlace. And inhaling to lift the chin and lift the hands. Exhaling, hands come into the center. We'll do that 2 more times. Deep breath in. Exhaling, palms press forward. Inhaling, palms come up. Exhaling, hands reach back and behind. Inhaling to open up the heart, lift the chin, lift the hands. And exhaling to center. Deep breath in. Exhaling, palms pressing forward. Inhaling, palms coming up. Exhaling, reaching all the way back. Inhaling to open up the heart. And exhaling, hands coming into the center. If you feel good where you are, keep your ankles where you are. If you maybe got that first switch backwards like I did, we're going to go ahead and switch again. I still don't know. Holding on to both knees, we're going to make big circles with the chest. Rounding back. Pulling all the way over to one side and pulling the heart forward. Making big, slow circles. Feeling your sit bones shifting against the floor, your ankles shifting against the floor, your low back checking out its range of motion, the hips and hip flexors. Switching directions. And making our way back to center, sitting up nice and tall. Let's go ahead and make our way down onto our backs. So we're going to start with the knees bent and the bottoms of the feet to the floor. Just roll all the way down. Noticing how it feels down here on the floor. Feeling gravity pulling on your face. Letting everything get a little flat. Maybe this is the first time you've been horizontal since you got up this morning. Giving your body a chance to kind of get used to it, feel it out. Noticing what you feel in your spine. What you feel through the hips, what you feel through the feet and the hands. We'll hug both knees in close, holding onto those knees and making some circles with both knees at the same time, moving them together. Just feeling out again the spine against the floor, the sides of the back. We'll switch directions. So you're kind of rocking and rolling from side to side here. Noticing your limits. How far can you make your circle go over to the right or the left without feeling like you're going to roll onto one side? And we'll give those knees one close squeeze and then extend both legs out long. Extend the arms up overhead, stretching from the fingers all the way down to the toes. Big good morning stretch. We'll bend the right knee, holding onto that right knee, relaxing the foot and the ankle so it'll kind of flop around. We're making circles with the knee. Big circles or little circles. Circles that focus more across your body or out to the right. Whatever feels good to you. Switching directions. We'll bring the right knee back into center. Let's send the foot up towards the ceiling. We can hold on behind the leg. We are not straightening the knee right now. We are just extending the foot up towards the ceiling, rolling out the ankle a couple times, switching directions, getting a little reversal of circulation here early on in the class, shaking out that foot and then lowering it all the way down. Feeling the front of the leg, the hip flexor, open up as you lower your leg down and let it relax, let it lengthen. We'll hug the left knee in. Letting the foot and ankle be soft. Making circles on this side. You might find some of the same sensations on this side. You might find some different ones. Just noticing what's going on. Noticing tight places, open places. We'll switch directions. Bringing that knee back in nice and close. Extending foot up towards the ceiling. Gently straightening, not even really straightening that leg. Rolling through the ankle. Checking out the range of motion on this side. Switching directions a couple times, whatever feels natural to you. You can even spell a little message with your toe in the air. Big deep breath in, and on the exhale, releasing the leg all the way down to the floor. Let's stretch both arms all the way up. Stretching from the fingers all the way down to the toes. We'll bring the arms down alongside of the body and then bend both knees. We got our hip flexors nice and tightened up doing those things. Now we're going to open them up a little bit more. So placing the bottom to the feet to the floor as close as you can get them, as close to hip width apart as you can. You might even be able to reach down and touch your heels with your fingertips maybe. We'll take a deep breath in Lift the hips up off the floor. Trying to bring the hips in line with the knees and the shoulders. So we're making a straight line, as straight as we can. Exhaling to lower all the way down. Now this time, and for a couple times after this, we're gonna roll the spine off the floor. So we're starting with the tailbone, tucking the tailbone up, and lifting the spine one vertebrae at a time from the bottom all the way up close to the shoulder blades. And on the exhale, we're rolling it down from the top all the way down to the tailbone. It's a lot of work for your brain. Tucking the tailbone, rolling up. Exhaling, rolling it back down. We'll do 2 more like that. Inhaling to roll on up. Strengthening your deep core. Exhaling to roll on down. Opening the hip flexors. Energizing the lower body. One last time. Inhaling all the way up. And exhaling to come all the way down. Let's go ahead and take the arms out wide into a T. We'll take the knees over to the right. Let them hang out there for a moment. On your next exhale, bring them back up to the center. That should have been an inhale. On your next inhale, bring them up to the center, and then on your exhale, take them down to the left. Exhaling to twist, and inhaling to come back to neutral. So inhaling the knees on up, and exhaling them back down to the right. So we're going to move with each breath again. Breathing a little slower this time since we're chilling down on our mats. Exhaling down to the left. Inhaling up to center. And exhaling down to the right. Getting the sensation of rolling out the glutes against the floor. Again, waking up and energizing that low back, warming up the body. All the good benefits of twists. Alrighty, we'll come on back to center. Hug both knees in, nice and close. Rock and roll, side to side. Rock and roll forward and back, or just make your way however you like up into a seated position. And we're actually just going to make our way right into tabletop. And once you come into tabletop, let's go ahead and fold the bottom part of the mat over. You might want a little extra cushion underneath the knees. We've got the palms right underneath the shoulders, the knees right underneath the hips. Coming into cat and cow right away. So we're inhaling, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly, lifting the chin. Exhaling, tucking the tailbone, rounding up through the back and tucking the chin in towards the chest. We're doing a lot of flowing movements with the spine today. That's really good for mobility. It's really good for, obviously, for spine health. It's really good for getting energy circulating, for that soreness that sets in. When we find out, oh, we've been sitting still for hours. And it just feels good. Moving with your breath here. Taking side to side movements, forward and back movements, whatever feels natural to you. We'll come back to a neutral spine. Let's go ahead and come up onto just the knees. And let's go ahead and tuck the back toes, if that's available to you. If that feels terrible, then you don't have to tuck the back toe. Stepping the right foot forward to make a square. And we can shift the hips forward, shift that right foot forward until we feel like we're getting an opening through this left thigh here. We want the right knee to be pretty much directly over the right ankle. So adjusting the feet however you need to feel balanced here. If you feel really, really wobbly, take the right foot farther over to the right so your base is wider, so you're not balancing on a balance beam. We'll take both arms out and all the way up. Exhaling, hands come into the heart. One more breath like that. Arms come out and up. And exhale, hands come into the heart. We'll come back to both knees. Maybe tucking the toes on that right foot and stepping forward with the left foot, getting yourself balanced. So widening that left foot over to the left, figuring out where in space the hips need to be, where that knee needs to be. So it's right over the ankle, the hips are forward, so you're feeling a stretch through the right thigh. Hands come into the heart. Inhaling, big deep breath in. Exhaling, hands come into the center. Another big deep breath in. Exhaling, hands come back to the heart. Alrighty, we're going to do one more lunge on each side. So the left knee comes back to meet the right. Right foot comes forward. Here we are. This is the one we really like. So we're taking the left hand down to the floor inside of that right foot. Maybe to the very left edge of your mat, maybe even off to the side. I want you to have a whole lot of room here. I said to the inside of the right foot, but that's like not enough room. So edge of the mat, beyond the edge of the mat, we want to have lots of space. We're pressing the hips forward, lifting the right arm up towards the ceiling. Maybe even looking up towards the right hand. If you're feeling extra fancy today, you can make a circle with your right arm like you're doing a backstroke. Drawing a big circle, feeling out the range of motion of your shoulder here. Just if that feels like something that might feel nice to you. And on your exhale, we'll bring the right hand all the way down. Making our way back to both knees. Left foot comes forward. And figuring out where that hip, where that knee needs to be in space. Right hand comes down to the edge of the mat, maybe beyond the edge of the mat. Or pressing the hips forward and twisting up with the left hand. Maybe looking up towards that left fingertips, noticing if you're tighter on this side than you were on the other side. I definitely am. Taking a few deep breaths here, noticing how your breath changes the sensations you feel. Maybe taking a couple back strokes, breathing your arm all the way around. The full range of motion of that left shoulder. And on our exhale, we'll lower the left hand down to the floor, making our way back, however you need to, onto both knees. Let's bring the knees all the way together, bring the feet all the way together, and we are tucking all of the toes behind us. Maybe this is enough of a stretch. We're stretching the bottoms of the feet here. So we might be able to just take the hands down to the floor, shift the hips back a little bit, feel a big, huge stretch through the bottoms of the feet here. That is awesome. Find that stretch and hang out in it. You might be able to sit your hips back all the way to the heels. You might be able to even take some weight out of the hands and come more upright. So anywhere in that range, wherever you find a foot stretch, the arches of the feet, the bases of the toes, wherever you find that foot stretch is where I want you to hang out. You do not need to hang out here if this is going to make you cry. The first time I did this, I cried, I swear. So here we're going to make circles with the wrists, switching directions. If you need a break from the foot stretch at any time, come on out of it. Shaking out the wrists. And give your wrists a little squeezes. You can feel the tiny bones in there. Get some space from each other in a good way. Just a little bit of an extension here. Kind of squeezing up and down. And then switch sides. Squeeze up and down the other wrist. We can keep the toes tucked. Bring the hands down to the floor. And come on to maybe the tops of the hands. Maybe just one at a time. This can be pretty intense. The tops of the hands down. Maybe you can do both at the same time. You can turn the fingertips to face the knees. I'm just trying to distract you from this foot stretch. We can even shift the hips back, get a stretch through the forearms. Still stretching those feet. We'll release the hands, coming forward into our tabletop. Go ahead and untuck the toes and tap, 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 tap the tops of the feet on the floor. Alrighty, here we're going to come into thunderbolt pose. So if your feet are hanging off your mat like this and they have been on like a hard floor, you might want to switch directions. Go ahead and switch directions. So you've got padding underneath your knees, double padding, and then you've got at least one layer underneath your feet, just maybe. So here it's the same kind of stretch. You might be able to sit all the way onto your heels. You might be more up here in tabletop. We're trying to find a stretch this time through the knees and the thighs and the tops of the feet. So if you are just hanging out right here, that's fine. If you're more forward, hips not all the way down, that's fine too. If you don't feel anything here, I challenge you to take your ankles apart and sit down in between your heels towards the floor. Getting a big stretch through the knees, stretching through the fronts of the ankles, the tops of the feet. So wherever you are, taking deep breaths, feeling out those ankles. Another fun thing to do is pick up one knee, stretch the top of the foot, the ankle, pick up the other knee, focus on that other side. Finding your stretch here. We'll walk back into our tabletop, rearranging yourself on your mat if you need to. We're gonna unfold our mats because we're gonna take up the whole thing here momentarily. Let's extend the right leg long, tucking the toes gently, Swinging that heel from side to side, waking up the hamstring a little bit. We've had the knees bent with pressure on them for a few minutes. So shaking off some of that pressure, some of that tension. Bringing the right knee back underneath, extending the left leg long, tucking the toes gently and swinging the heel from side to side. And we'll make our way back into our tabletop. Let's go ahead and take the hands 3 inches forward, a little bit wider. And we're going to come up into our downward facing dog. So we're tucking the toes, lifting the hips, lengthening through the spine, lengthening through the legs, alternating, pressing one heel and then the other down towards the floor. We're not forcing anything through these hamstrings that they're not ready for. Just letting them open up gradually and naturally. Big deep breath in to lift the heels high. And then we'll exhale, lowering the knees down towards the floor. Inhaling, lifting the knees. Exhaling to lower the heels. Inhaling, heels up. Exhaling, knees come down. Inhaling, knees come up. Exhaling, heels come down. One more like that. Inhaling, heels up. Exhaling, knees come down low. Inhaling, heels up, knees up, everything up to the sky. And we'll exhale, heels press down towards the floor. We're gonna bend both knees and walk the hands up towards, walk the feet up towards the hands. Hanging out in forward fold here. Noticing where you feel a stretch in the backs of the legs. You want to feel a stretch through the hamstrings, the muscles, not the joints. So if you feel pulling in the backs of the knees, bend the knees a little bit. Take some of that strain out of your muscles. Letting your head hang, shaking it no, nodding it yes. Swinging it from side to side. Releasing through your spine. We'll take a deep bend in the knees and slowly roll that spine all the way up. Standing up nice and tall. Noticing how it feels to stand up now. We've done about 35 minutes of yoga. Noticing how your body feels. A little different, a little tingly, a little warm maybe. We want to bring the feet hip width apart and parallel here. Stacking those knees right over the ankles. Knees are pointing straight forward. Hips are stacked over the knees. Shoulders are stacked over the hips. Fingertips can shine down towards the floor. Long and strong through the spine. We'll move with the breath. Inhaling, taking the arms out and up. Exhaling to fold forward and bow. Inhaling for a long flat spine. Exhaling to come all the way down. Inhaling, coming out and up. Exhaling, hands come into the center. We'll do 2 more like that. Inhaling, arms come out and up. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhaling, long, flat spine. Exhaling down. Inhaling all the way up. Exhaling, hands coming into the heart. Arms come out and up. We might be doing an extra one. Exhale, fold and bow. Inhale for a flat spine. And exhaling all the way down. Inhaling, coming out and up. And exhaling, hands coming into the heart. Keeping the hands at the heart, we're going to make our way into tree pose. So we're standing strong onto the right foot, making a little kickstand with the left heel against the ankle. That left knee we want to point out wide to the side. So we're using the back, the glute, the back of the leg to open up the front of the leg. Maybe we're bringing the foot up the inner right leg to the inner calf, maybe above the knee to the upper inner thigh, not right on the knee though. That's not the kind of pressure that we want on a knee joint. Finding your balance here. Continuing to breathe. Checking in with your right knee. Notice whether it's pointing in the same direction your right foot is pointing. Notice whether it feels like it is. And then if you're feeling really brave, you can take a look down and see if it actually is pointing in the same direction your foot is pointing. Just a fun challenge for you in an already challenging pose. Taking one more full breath here, standing up really, really strong and tall through that whole right side. And on our exhale, we'll release. Coming over to the left side, making a kickstand. Palms coming together. Checking in before we start balancing this time. Checking in that your knee is pointing in the same direction your toes are pointing, and try to keep it that way. So we'll maybe bring the foot up the inner leg to the calf, maybe to the thigh. Using the back of the leg to open up the front of the leg. Finding your balance if it's there for you to find. And breathing. Checking in with your left side, making sure you're not collapsing into that left hip and letting it pop out. We want to stand nice and tall and straight through the left side, the standing side. Big deep breath in, and then we come on out. Let's go ahead and shake out the feet. Let's see, we're going to come into triangle pose today. So go ahead and come to the top of your mat. And we're taking a medium-sized step back with the right foot. The toes will point out to the side. The left foot is pointing straight forward. And for this pose, usually we want to have a wide base, but for this pose, we're going to have a really narrow base. So we want to, if there's an imaginary line coming out of your left heel, and it goes all the way down your yoga mat, we want that imaginary line to hit the arch of your right foot. So we are let's see, we were just trying to not be on a balance beam when we were doing those lunges, and now we're trying to be on a balance beam. So we want our feet to be in line. That was a long explanation. So we're standing up nice and tall here, opening up to the long side of the mat, so the same direction your right foot is pointing. We want to check in with that left knee though. We want it pointing in the same direction the left foot is pointing. So our knees are pointing two different directions. And we are using the muscles of our legs to hold those knees in those positions, strengthening the legs, strengthening the knees, preventing injuries. Arms come out long. We're reaching into the left fingertips, and then we're tipping down. Your hand might come to your knee, it might come to your thigh, it might come to the floor, somewhere in between. If it comes to the knee, it's nice because you can kind of use your hand to guide your knee to point in the direction it's supposed to be pointing. Getting a big side stretch all through this right side. Big deep breath in. And on your exhale, coming all the way back up. Releasing the arms. We'll switch sides here. Rotating the left foot. Rotating the right foot. Checking in with that alignment. The invisible line from this right heel comes all the way to the left arch. Standing up nice and tall. Checking in with that right knee, that it's pointing the same direction that the foot is pointing. Our belly button, our heart, our left knee, our left foot, that's all pointing in another direction. Arms come out wide. Big deep breath in. Reaching into those right fingertips. And we're tipping down. It's like we're getting started on a really slow cartwheel. Maybe checking in with that right knee, that it's pointing in the correct direction. Maybe resting the hand to the floor, the ankle, the knee, the thigh, anywhere, wherever it falls. Big deep breath in here. And we'll exhale, coming all the way back up to center. Alrighty, let's go ahead and come down to the back of the mat. You get to decide what the back of your mat is. We'll extend the arms out and up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, long, flat spine. And exhale, coming all the way down. We're bending the knees, hands come to the floor, and we're walking out into our tabletop. If you want to pad the knees by folding your mat over, now is a good time to do that. So here in our tabletop, we're going to take some shoulder stretches. We'll take, hold on. I did this pose in a really cool way the other day. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, so our left hand is going to walk up towards the top left corner of the mat. The right hand is going to thread underneath. And then we're lowering the right shoulder to the floor. See? Threading the needle. But then we don't have to worry about the weird bend in this left elbow. And we don't have to worry about finding like the spot to put that left hand in. If you want to move your left hand, you can, or you can keep it right where it is. Big twist through the upper back in between the shoulder blades. We'll bring that left hand back in front of the face and push on up. Coming back to center. Right hand reaches up and over towards the top right corner of the mat. The left hand threads through, lowering on down. Adjusting where your hands are if necessary. Feeling a big stretch through the outer left arm. A big twist through the upper back. right hand comes back in front of the face. We come all the way down. Let's make our way onto our seats. Coming into boat pose. It's been a while. So we've got the heels down for starters. The most important thing is that the low back and the heart are lifting. So if you're up here with the legs, but you're all rounded back trying to float your boat, that's not the pose. We want to be lifted through the low back, lifted through the chest. And if you need to have the heels down to get lifted, that's just fine. You're still getting all the strengthening that you need today from this pose. So we're in our boat pose, finding it. Maybe the shins are level with the floor, maybe the heels are to the floor, maybe the hands are extending, lower back is lifting, chest is lifting. Big deep breath in, and we'll lower on down. We're gonna do 2 more. That first one was a long one. The other ones won't be so long. Alrighty, shifting back, finding your second boat pose. Maybe shins level with the floor. Definitely lifting through the low back. Definitely lifting through the heart. Big deep breath in. Exhaling on down. One more. Shifting back. Getting that spine situated where it's going to stay, and then finding your leg situation. From this boat, we're going to lower all the way down. Coming down onto the mat. Feeling again, we got those hip flexors all tight, doing those boat poses. The fronts, the tops of the thighs. So giving those hip flexors a little rub. You can even plant the feet. Open up the hip flexors a little bit more by lifting the hips towards the ceiling. Nothing fancy, just opening up your front body. We'll take one last hip stretch. So we're taking the right ankle over the left knee. We can stay right here if this is a nice stretch. We can hold on behind the left thigh or even in front of the left shin to find the stretch through the right hip that feels good to you today. Noticing that stretch through the hip. Noticing the hip slowly, maybe like really slowly, releasing into that stretch. We'll release the left foot, uncross the right leg, taking the left ankle across the right knee, staying right here, or holding on behind the right thigh, holding on to the front of the shin, finding your stretch. this side, noticing sensations that feel the same as the right side, but feel different. Using your exhalations to get a little bit softer through that hip. Releasing the right foot down, uncrossing the left. Swing the knees from side to side a couple times. We're making our way into our final pose, our final relaxation pose. So maybe both legs come out long. Maybe you like to keep the knees bent. Allowing your body to feel soft. Noticing the parts of the feet making contact with the floor. The knees not gripping any position. The thighs are soft. Relax them on purpose. Feeling the heaviness of the hips and the pelvis, grounding you into the floor. Your long spine, feeling its natural curves. The belly is soft. The heart is open. The shoulders aren't crowding around the ears. You want to have a nice long neck. Soft arms. Soft hands. Relaxing your jaw. Allowing your face to be smooth. And we'll stay here, breathing regularly for a minute or two, not dwelling for too long on any thought that might arise. Begin to deepen your breath. Taking little movements through the fingers and the toes. Rolling out the wrists and the ankles. Bending the knees and rolling to one side. And then coming on up into a seated position. Sitting up nice and tall. Hopefully feeling some more space through the spine, the shoulders, the hips than you did an hour ago. Hopefully feeling like you did yourself a favor by being here on your mat today. Because you did. Palms come together at the heart. We'll take our 3 deep breaths. Big deep breath in for the world. Exhaling, hands come into the heart. Big deep breath in for our community. Hands come down into the heart. A big deep breath in for ourselves. Exhaling, hands come into the heart. Thank you so much. Namaste.